Okay, good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, August 18th, 2014. We're going to start our Google Hangout, our Google Plus Hangout. Today we're talking, or this week we're talking about Google Forms, which is one of the great apps. Everybody should use it on a daily basis. Before we get started, we just watched the video. We're going to talk about the video and what we're going to do this week. But there's two things of significance I want to do first. One, we have somebody graduating. Actually, Anita graduated on Friday, so we're going to acknowledge that graduation. She was the only person to graduate last week, and Friday is our test date here. So we're going to acknowledge Anita today. The second thing is tomorrow is a very historic day. Does anybody know what tomorrow is?
Yeah, we're going to graduate from Tiger Top.
Huh? No, that was on the 16th. Okay? That was 37 years ago. Tomorrow is the 2000th anniversary of something.
Google.
So what day was it 2,000 years ago? What was it 2,000 years ago? What was the date 2,000 years ago? Is Fernando there? Victoria, help me out, someone. What was the date 2,000 years ago?
14.
Was what date? 1480.
When Jesus Christ died.
14 AD.
Okay.
Yeah, so tomorrow will be August 19th, 2000, or August 19th, 0014. So that is the
Hold on, let me Google it.
it is the death, the 2000th anniversary of the death of someone who, if he had not lived, we would not be here today. No, not Jesus.
Caesar.
Not Jesus. Who? Who?
Augustus Caesar.
Correct. Was that Fernando?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, Caesar Augustus. Imperator Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus. Huh? That is correct. Well, it's important to get a historical perspective on why we're here and to know what's going on in the world. Okay, so if Augustus Caesar had not done okay, so the people who have no clue of what I'm talking about are people who don't realize that what happened in the history of Western civilization before Augustus Caesar. Does anybody know? No. What happened before that? The death of his great uncle Julius Caesar, who was assassinated. Rome was in a period of civil war. It was very uncertain what was going to happen to Rome. Rome could have gone the way of the Aztecs or the Mayans, and if that had happened, Western civilization would be completely different. But he fought a civil war for 25 years, or actually 14 years, and ultimately won, and Western civilization turned out the way it did because of Augustus Caesar, and he died 2,000 years ago tomorrow. Just a little bit of trivia. Moving on. So I want to take a few minutes to acknowledge the graduation of a student who has been coming here religiously, pretty much, right, Anita? Since April. Or was it March, the end of March? April. Since April. And unfortunately, like I said earlier, Anita, why don't you come up?
Yay.
Anita,
Ed, before you continue, Ed, can you? This is Fernando.
yes, Fernando.
Okay, we can't. We have a black screen. We can only get the sound.
You can't see me?
No.
No.
Rob? I can see myself. Okay, now check to make sure on your screen you do not have video turned off for me. If you bring your cursor into the little box that has my name,
Yeah. There's a
It
drop down.
shouldn't be aligned through the video camera.
Um,
That's
okay.
on the box there, at the bottom.
So now I just turned the video off.
We only get sound.
And now I turned it back on.
Oh, there you are. There we are.
Thank you.
That's Rob.
Okay, we're good. We can see you now.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Well, thank you. That's important for Anita. So Anita has been coming here religiously. She participates in the.
Should lower
Yeah. And we'll move back a little bit. So let's move back in here.
There she is.
Okay. Yeah, everybody knows I'm 6'8", right?
Well, we know that
Well, not
she's
really.
not as tall.
Okay, so Anita has been coming religiously. Anita has participated in the weekly memorization recitals, has done a good job, has done your best, right? Had some challenges, a lot of new information. Anita's from the Show Me State, right?
Hurry.
Yes.
Missouri, from Ferguson.
No, no, no.
Okay, so the school is better off because Anita was here. Anita would participate after our TED Talks every morning, asked a lot of good questions, and more important than that, and this is something that's important for all of our students and all of the campuses, if you have a question, there's probably at least 5 other people that are thinking the same thing. Anita was always good at asking a question that other people were thinking of. So part of being a good employee is to ask the questions. Don't think, oh, everybody else must understand. If I don't understand, I'm the only one who doesn't get it, so I'm going to say nothing.
And people are relieved that she asked them.
People are relieved that she asked it. And from the perspective of the person in the front of the room, if it's me, the instructor, or at work, if people don't say, I'm not following you, the presumption is you are. Okay, because as an adult, you have a duty to make the other person know that you don't know what's going on.
That they're scared to admit.
Yeah, it's not the responsibility of the person giving information to know what's going on in your mind. Okay? In law school, the basic thing is don't try to figure out what's going on in people's mind. Hold them accountable for what they say or do. Don't get into this, well, you know what I meant type of thing. Or I wasn't following. I wasn't asking you questions because I didn't know what was going on. So Anita was very good, has always been very good at asking questions for clarification. And so that's an important thing I want to acknowledge. And now for the certificates that Anita gets, and there's one more that is not here. So the one more is your voucher to come back. So typing. So Anita has typing of 35 words per minute. So let's acknowledge that. What did you start at, Anita?
15.
15. Okay, so that's a big jump. That's 2.5 times. Basic Microsoft Word. Okay, and it's just too bad that we didn't switch over to Docs earlier. But at least you get basic Microsoft Word. The third one is social media. Anita was also good every day at doing her Twitter post. And which account did you mainly do it for? Which project?
I started out with Twitter.
Okay, and which project?
Obligation.
On the obligation. Okay, good. So, and then we have a 4th certificate for you. I'm not sure where your blue folder is. We'll find that for you. So let's acknowledge Anita's doing a good job. And we have an employer that we're trying to make contact with. It's been tough because of holidays, but we have an employer that is going to interview Anita for a full-time position.
Great.
Okay? You know about that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So would you like to say anything to the other students about how scary it was or what you learned?
Well, when I came here and sat over there before I became a student, filling out my paperwork, I was like, oh my, am I getting myself into? And, I have to say, though, I've loved this school. It's become a part of me. I'm going to miss it.
Well, you can always come back.
And I've learned a lot.
Good.
There's a lot I still need to learn, but I've learned a lot.
Well, you're on the right path. So thank you, Anita. Congratulations. We'll get you your blue folder also. So Anita has been a very good student and a help in the school. She's been very helpful to me. Sort of like Victoria. Different. Okay, so we've got 10 minutes. Google Forms is a great app. Hopefully you could at least get from Steve Dotto, or Dotto, is that his name? Dotto, Steve Dotto, that he thinks the Google Forms is a great thing. Like all of the other Google apps, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Right, you're going to lose it. Fortunately, though, it's not that hard to figure out, right?
Yeah, no, that's good.
How was it in for you over there for Victoria? How was it over there for people following the video?
I think it was easy. We've all done. Most of us have done forms already.
It what?
I said a lot of us have done forms already.
Correct. We should be going through all of the Google apps twice. The reason I chose Forms this week was because last week we did something else on Google Drive, and I want to make sure to reinforce learning and knowledge that everybody is getting how to use Google Drive, how to create documents, how to create spreadsheets, how to create forms, etc. But Google Forms is something that you should use all of the time. And we're going to be doing one on Wednesday here. We're going to be creating a form where people get a Starbucks card. And what we're going to do is make sure we have the cards before Thursday. And this time we're not going to do it in teams because, as Victoria pointed out, many people have already gone through this once before, so we don't need to do teams. So we're going to create a form. The most important thing about forms that people forget is they have to be letter perfect in terms of spelling and punctuation. And let's see, for people who've gone through this before, maybe Victoria, you can make a comment on how many people don't make mistakes on grammar or punctuation or spelling.
How many people don't?
How many people make mistakes?
Everybody does.
Yeah. It's almost impossible. As easy as it sounds, spell the words properly, use proper grammar, use proper punctuation. As much as we say that, and everybody says, yeah, I already know that, almost nobody gets it right. Yes, Mary?
Do you spell check on forms?
No.
They don't.
Oh.
They're not creating.
I don't think there's spell check, but, okay, so Nick says there is, but there are things like sometimes people will capitalize a word and then they won't capitalize it at other points. Sometimes they'll put a colon after it, sometimes they won't. There's just inconsistency. Now, when you're creating the form, for some reason, we don't see it. But if you're a person who's looking at the form for the first time, it stands out, it blares out there, mistake, mistake, mistake.
Right.
So what you really have to focus on is making sure, the most important thing is to focus on making sure that the spelling, the grammar, the punctuation are always correct, perfect, and consistent. You don't have to use a colon at the end of the question. But if you do, then you need to add it at the end of every question, not some. Don't change from colon to semicolon to period to dash to nothing. Just keep it consistent all the way through. Let's see, what else can I talk about regarding forms? Okay, so you saw how easy it was to distribute the form. Okay, yes, Jess.
Okay, so when we put the question
when do you want it? Do we put a question mark there?
Okay, so that's a good example. So Jess just pointed out, if you're asking a question, do you put a question mark at the end?
That was the title of the form, so
Huh?
I did.
I wrote, when do you want it, question mark, date and time, question mark.
That's good.
Okay, did you put a question mark after name?
Yeah.
So
Oh, you did?
I
Okay.
wrote, what is your name?
Okay, so the most important thing is to be consistent. I avoid using question marks because it becomes inconsistent. They're all questions, right?
Right.
When you're filling out a form, they're all questions. So, so for simplicity, I don't put a question mark. What?
There's multiple choice.
Well, the answer is multiple choice, but you're answering a question,
Right.
right? So I generally don't use question marks because it just gets to be redundant. But if you do it for all of them. So on yours, Rayanne, you didn't put a question mark at the first question, but you did it for the subsequent? Oh, you did.
Question marks on all of them.
Okay, so Rayanne put question marks on all of them. And then spelled it out. What is your name? As opposed to just name question mark.
Yeah.
So now the other thing is, in forms, less is more. Less is more. So in other words, instead of saying, what is your name? Name is probably good enough.
And people are used
What
to
if
it.
they're like,
That's what you're
name
doing.
what?
Okay, so now if you have a thing where people see name
People don't know.
and they don't know what you're talking about,
That's not good.
then that might be a problem with them.
They
Okay.
didn't get on the computer.
So what? So okay. So the point would be, who is the target market for the form? Because certainly if it's kindergarten, well, they're not going to fill out the form because they can't spell anything, right? What if it's third grade?
You gotta send it to the parents.
If it's third grade, you might have to say, what is your name? If it's UNLV, what is your name? If it's Bishop Gorman High School, name.
And
Okay?
I think you and over to get people to figure it out.
Some, yes. Many, no. I'm just joking about UNLV. So who's your target market? Tailor the words to the target market. And then remember, what's the thing right below the question title?
Yeah.
What is right below question title?
The box.
And it's above question type.
All right, let me look at it.
Anybody in California?
I'm not on
Wait, what was the question?
Bueller? Bueller?
there. It's a day off.
What was it? The question?
What is the box right below question title?
Help text?
Help text. Right, thank you. Help text. So what do we use help text for?
Can you describe
To describe what?
the question or more detail?
Right, to describe what's above it. So now, in terms of designing a form, you also have to think in terms of, if I'm going to start putting help text in some of them, do I put it in all of them? Or which ones do I put it in? So you're going to find out when you're creating forms, you might come to one that you say, I need to explain this question. But then that should trigger in your mind, now do I need to go back to the other questions and start putting help text in? So for name, what could you put for help text under name?
More first and last.
Okay, so
What you
right.
call yourself.
Well, no, I mean, you might say, please put last name first, or you could have it there, last, comma, first. First, comma, last. Full name. Nickname. Pet name. Prison name. Okay, you can put help text in for all of those things, and it kind of becomes important when you're designing a form. So I'm going to skip forward to the end. The third part he said was what? Collecting data. Okay. If you're going to have a lot of data, meaning if a lot of people are going to fill out the form, you want to break the questions down into their simplest part, because you get to sort that form. Okay, so instead of name, you probably say first name, next question is last name. That way you can sort them in alphabetical order by name. But if it just says name, it's going to sort by the first letter that they put in that box. So if somebody puts in their nickname and you sort 1,000 of these records and you're looking for Patty Smith and her nickname is Gabby, you're not going to find her. But if you have first name, last name, then you sort by last name and it's Smith. The same thing comes up if you're doing address. The address should be in address, which means what? That's your street address. Okay? And so why? Because what's the next question? No. Good guess. City. Okay? State. And then what? Zip. So some people take a shortcut in the forms and they have it one question, just says address. The problem, once again, is if you have a spreadsheet and you have one record, one field that is address, it's going to sort by the number of their street address.
That's why a lot of them ask for just your birthday so they're able to go.
Okay, so birthday would be another one. So this one, how would you sort if you have, like the Italian American Club, there's 600 names on the members list. And we have it broken down into address, city, state, zip.
That's 4 different items. So
Yeah, so if we want to know what part of Las Vegas they live in, what would we sort by? Zip code, right. If we want to know what city, city. State, there's a lot of out-of-state members. And we don't care so much about their street address unless we're mailing them something. Okay? Same thing goes with email, phone number, etc. So you want to have separate fields if you want their cell phone number or their home number or their fax number or their work number. But again, less is more. So you don't need to always say, I need your home number, your office number, your fax number, your cell phone number. These days, what's the one number to get? Cell number. Okay, so I noticed it's time for the end of class. We're going to pick this up tomorrow. We're going to do forms, and then we're going to be working on forms every day. Thank you, everyone. And we're going to have a call with you in a few minutes, Victoria.
All right.
Okay, bye now. Okay, everyone, break time.